In this video, we're going to be connecting an AI voice agent to Google Calendar. We're going to go over how to set up the agent properly, how to configure your prompt, the function call, the parameters, the webhook, and making sure the entire connection from the voice platform to the workflow platform to the calendar platform is smooth. This guide is going to be basic enough for beginners to follow, and it's going to require no code. Now, Retail AI is our voice platform of choice, and N8N is going to be our workflow platform of choice. I'm going to make this basic enough and simple enough so that it's interchangeable across any voice platform, whether you're using Vappy, Bland, Synflow, etc., or if you're using Make.com, N8N, Zapier, any workflow platform. This also goes for the calendar. So by the end of this video, you'll know how to book appointments with any voice platform, with any workflow platform, and in any calendar. If you're unfamiliar with Retail AI, they are a great choice. They offer a pay-as-you-go plan, which means it's $0 to start. You can build an unlimited amount, you can test an unlimited amount, and they give you $10 worth of free phone credits. All right, so logging onto Retail, we have one universal business agent that we're going to dive into. We have a very simple prompt configured. If you want this prompt, I'm going to be leaving the build, which includes the prompt, inside of my school group. If you want to do things a little more on your own, you can just go to ChatGPT, tell it who you're building an AI voice agent for, tell it you want a prompt in Markdown format, and tell it what you want it to do, and give it the business's URL so that I can scrape their website and pull all the information from it. I have tested this prompt about 200 times, so it is very fine-tuned and optimized. I've also kind of made it universal across any business just for this video's purposes. So we have a role section, we have a general rules section, a knowledge base section, and then the bulk, and the reason why we're here, the appointment booking section. So as you can see, we have a goal section. This gives the AI a general purpose when it comes to booking appointments. Now under that, we have 5 sections: purpose, name, number, specialist preference, date and time. These are all interchangeable except for the date and time. These are the variables that we are configuring. We are telling our AI to collect from the caller. We have purpose, why the person is coming in. We have name, their name. We have number, their number. And we have specialist preference, asking if they prefer a specific provider. So for example, if you're making this AI voice agent for a barbershop, this would be preferred barber. If it's for a med clinic, it would be preferred doctor, so on and so forth. And then lastly, we have the date and time. Obviously, we need the date and time that the caller wants to book the appointment for. This is the only required field. You do need one other field just to map it to the person themselves. So the bare minimum that we see often is going to be date and time and number. However, businesses do like some more context. They want the reason why the person's coming in, etc. So we have these 5 fields. Now this is important because this is the starting point of the appointment booking flow. You need to determine the fields that you're going to be collecting from the customer. Under the 5 variables, we have the book appointment command, which says once an available time is confirmed, invoke tool. We haven't put the tool in yet. So once we create the tool up here, we're going to take the name and insert it here. And then under that, we have the booking payload example. So this is, we're giving Retail AI an example of how we want the information sent over. So this is organized in a very simple way. We have summary, and the summary field contains the name, purpose, and number as configured above. The description contains just the preferred specialist. And then the start time and the end time is both configured from the date and time. So the way we have this written, start time ISO 8601, is start time is the beginning of the appointment, end time is the end of the appointment, and ISO 8601 is the format. It's a universal format. If you look it up, it's kind of how computers read time. This example payload is important because we're giving Retail an example of how we want the information sent over. For the rest of the appointment booking section, we just have pretty much what to tell the AI agent to say after it books the appointment. So we've all set your appointment at business name is booked for the given date and time. We look forward to seeing you. And if booking the appointment fails, we're telling it to invoke transfer call, which means just send the call to the business, have them handle the mishap. Under the appointment booking section, we have transfer calls, which is just basic, and we have multi-shot examples, which is just example dialogues, gives the AI a little more context. And lastly, we have closing, how to actually finish off the phone call. Once the appointment booking section is configured within the prompt, you're going to want to set up the actual function or tool call. On some AI voice platforms, it's called functions. On some AI voice platforms, it's called tools. It's the same exact thing. So we already have 2 functions set up. They're the most basic ones, the end call one and the transfer call one. Now, if we see inside of the prompt, we'll do end call, for example. We have, the only time we have end call is right here. So We're telling in the prompt, you tell the AI when to call the tool. So the way actually calling a function works is you need to configure in the prompt, you need to tell the AI when to call that function, when to call that tool. So we have here in the closing section, before ending, ask if there's anything else they need help with. And if they're all set, then say thank you for calling the business, have a great day, and invoke and then we have the tool name right here, and call. As you can see, we have the function set up right here. The same goes for transfer call. So we have, if the caller mentions an urgent concern, invoke transfer call. So in the prompt, just make sure that you're telling the AI when to call these tools. Now, what's good about retail is they have a lot of predefined functions. So the end call is right here and the agent transfer is right here. You just have to hit add and it'll add them, very simple. But when it comes to actually booking in appointments, they have cal.com already baked in because they have a direct integration with them. But Google Calendar is very popular, and in a lot of cases, you're probably gonna have to set up another calendar other than cal.com. If it's any other calendar, you're gonna have to select custom function. But with a custom function, you can send over any information to any webhook. In our case, we're sending information over to N8N in order to book inside of Google Calendar. So for the name, we're gonna write book appointment GCal for Google Calendar, and for description, we're going to write invoke this function when the caller wants to book an appointment. Very simple. Now, we can't actually save this function until we add an API endpoint. The agent needs somewhere to send this information. At this point, we have to go into N8N and start our workflow. Once you're inside of a blank canvas, you're going to want to hit add first step, and you're going to want to search for webhook. Once you have the webhook node down, we have the webhook URL right here, which is what we're pasting into that API endpoint section. So we'll take this and head into retail, and we will paste that in the API endpoint field. Now the parameters down here say optional, but they're required for actually booking appointments because the calendar needs specific information sent over, and that's where we're going to define this information. So you can do a JSON schema. You can just ask ChatGPT to kind of fill it out for you. You're basically going to tell ChatGPT, hey, I need a JSON schema for purpose, name, number, and all the fields that you have configured on the prompt, and it'll draw something up you can copy and paste in here. Or you can just do form. Retail allows you to do form, and it's much simpler. Inside of this parameters form option, you're going to hit add, and we have the parameter name and the detail, the description of what it is. Now, since we made this part so simple and so organized within our prompt, it's going to be very easy to transfer over to the function right now. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to save this function. We're going to scroll down to where we configured the booking payload example. These are our 4 parameters. These are our 4 fields that we need to fill in. So now we'll head back in to the function. We'll go to the first parameter, and we're going to type in the first variable that we have inside of our prompt. In the parameter name field, we have summary, and in the description field, we have name, purpose, number, exactly how it's configured in the booking payload example. So we're going to do that for the rest of the variables. Okay, now we have all 4 fields configured, exactly how they're configured in the prompt. One more note for this section, make sure everything's a string. You're almost always going to be using a string. An object is going to be more defined, a number is going to be a number, a Boolean is true or false. Now, one thing people always forget you need to have on is payload args only. This is short for arguments, and what turning this on is doing is it's telling retail when you send this payload, only send the fields that I'm defining right here. If you have this off, it's going to send these 4 fields, but it's going to send them in a whole cluster of information, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually pick and choose what information, what fields we need once we're inside N8N, because there's going to be so much input. So turning on payload args only restricts the input to only what you're defining here, which is exactly what we want. We're going to hit update, and this function is going to be completely finished. Now we need to head into N8N and finish our workflow. So back to where we left off, setting up the first webhook module, we have the HTTP method first. So we're doing a post. Get is when you're pulling information. Post is when you're putting information. So since we're placing an appointment, we're creating an appointment, we're going to do post. The path we can leave, the authentication we can leave, and then the respond, we're going to do respond using respond to webhook node. If you don't do that, then every time N8N receives your payload, receives a message from retail, it's going to answer immediately and say received. And then retail is going to think that the action was carried out no matter the actual result. This is important because when it comes to booking appointments, if the appointment wasn't actually booked, we need to tell retail so that the retail agent can tell the customer that the appointment wasn't booked. That's going to be it for the first module. The second module is going to be creating an event in Google Calendar. So as you can see, once we select Google Calendar, we have all these event actions. It would be the same if you were to type in something like Microsoft Outlook. You would just scroll down to event actions and do create an event. Once you have your create an event node down, it's going to pop up and look like this. Whether you're in make.com, N8N, or Zapier, the most important part is the fields. This process is going to be universal across any calendar with any workflow platform. At the top, you're going to have to sign in to the Google Calendar account. This is essentially giving you access to edit the calendar. Under that, we have resource, we have an event, which is exactly what we do. We want to create an event, operation, create, calendar. This is where you're going to select what account you're placing the appointment on. And then the fields, this is going to determine the start time and the end time. Now, we don't have any input data, so we can't go any further right now. As you can see, the start says now and the end says now plus 1 hour. The next thing we're going to have to do is actually finish this workflow. So we're going to type in webhook and hit respond to webhook. What's great about these webhooks is you don't have to touch them at all. You just need them down. So that's all set. Now this create an event in Google Calendar workflow is complete and it's ready for testing. To test it, this is the same process across all platforms. You just need to hit an N8N, you need to hit execute workflow. In make.com, you need to hit something like run. And both platforms, this goes for Zapier as well, will show a load and it'll just say like waiting for information. Now that N8N is waiting for information, we can head into retail and we need to do a test. We're gonna do a manual chat because doing manual chats are free and we'll be able to see the workflow very clearly here of how this pans out. So we're gonna try and book an appointment right now. Okay, so as we can see, the agent went through the variables for the appointment booking perfectly. First, it asked, what am I coming in for? We said haircut. Then it asked for my name. Then it asked for my number. Then it asked for preferred specialist. And then it asked for what time we want to come in. Now going into N8N, we can see that the workflow executed perfectly. However, when we go into Google Calendar, like I said, the appointment is going to be booked for right now because that's what it says to do inside the create an event node. And here we go. Inside Google Calendar, it booked for 10:08, which it is 10:09 right now, for 10:08 to 11:08. We also have no title because we don't have any details configured. Now let's go into N8N and polish off this workflow. So heading back into the create an event node, you can see our input is all here. We have everything that we need to properly set up this appointment. The body is where we're going to be looking. This is the same, again, across all workflow platforms. If you have payload args only and you set up the parameters like we did, you're going to have a body section that has all of the fields perfectly laid out like this. If you can recall, looking back into the retail function, the body is configured the same as we have the parameters set up right here. Summary, name, purpose, number. Summary, name, purpose, number. Description, preferred specialist. Description, preferred specialist. Start time, end time, start time, end time. That's the point of parameters, and that's the point of payload args only. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete the start time that N8N put by default in there, and we're going to drag the start time field. We're going to delete the end time default, and we're going to put in our retail end time variable. Now, lastly, we're going to add in the optional fields. So we're going to hit add field. We're going to do description, and we're going to drag in that description field. We're going to do another one, and we're going to go to summary, and we're going to drag in that summary field. Now this node is completely configured, and the workflow is ready to go. We can head back to Canvas. N8N is giving us this little yellow marker. It's pretty much just saying, hey, you changed this node. Now within N8N, we're actually going to set this workflow as active in the top right. Once you set it to active, that's technically pushing it to production. So we're going to have to go into the webhook. You have test URL, you have production URL. If you recall, right now we have the test URL inside of retail. However, since we just published the workflow, we need to swap the test URL for the new production URL. So click production URL, copy the production URL, bring it into retail and swap it for the one that you currently have inside your function and hit update. Now that it's live, we'll never have to hit that execute workflow button again because it'll just work every time it's called. So let's do another book appointment test. Okay, as we can see, the agent told us that our appointment at business name is all booked for tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Dr. Smith. If we head into the Google Calendar, we can see tomorrow, 2 to 3 p.m., Anthony haircut, and it has my phone number right there. Now, I know when setting up this connection between an AI voice platform, a workflow platform, and a calendar, there's a lot of sweet spots that can cause trouble. That's why I made this video. I hope I hit all of them. If you want my exact retail AI agent build, along with the prompt, the function, everything included, I'm going to be uploading that file within my school group. From there, you can download it and upload it straight into your own retail account. I will also do the same for this N8N workflow. And from there, you can download it and get started a little quicker. My school group is meant for people that are looking to build and sell AI voice agents. I've been doing it for about 6 months. I personally think it's the best spot to be in when it comes to getting started with AI. So I created a community where I upload all of my builds, as well as help fellow entrepreneurs out, because I know how difficult the setup can sometimes be. If you take the leap and join my group, I will see you inside. If not, hopefully I see you in my next video. I do try to provide as much free value as I can in these. So thank you guys for watching and good luck on your journey.